let's work. Come on, let's work. Come on, let's work. Come on.
You can wish for it or you can work for it.
You gotta work for greatness. If you ain't working, you should be working.
Come on, let's work.
Welcome to Confessions of a Workaholic, where we share the success secrets of fearless female entrepreneurs who are obsessed with success. This is your girl, Coriel, and you are totally in for a treat because we are talking about one of my favorite topics today, and that is multiple streams of income. Now, this conversation is brought to you by Work, Pray, Slay Weekend, which returns to ATL November 2nd through 4th. For details on how you can attend the biggest and best women's weekend of the year, be sure to log on to workprayslay.com. All right, so today's guest is none other than Dr. Jewel Tankard. Now, you may know her from Bravo TV, but she was a boss way before that. She has built an empire in MLM and has created a financial education platform that is helping women around the world build wealth on their own terms. Not only that, but she's also a happy wife, a mother of 5, a pastor, an actress, an entrepreneur. There is nothing that she is not doing. And I know that she has some wealth building wisdom that you ladies are definitely going to enjoy. So, Jewel, are you ready to confess?
Yes, girl, I'm ready to go.
Okay, so I am absolutely excited to talk to you. I've been talking about you on the podcast. I actually had a chance to attend your Millionaires conference here in Atlanta. So I brought back some of that wisdom that I took away from your conference. So I'm super excited to have you here on the show to be able to share some of that wisdom. And I always like to start by asking what your professional background is in, because I find it so interesting how our passions tend to lead us away from our profession. So what did you actually start your career doing?
I actually started my career working, selling cell phones, girl. I was in college. I got my first job at 19, and I started selling cell phones. And that's when I kind of realized that I was really good in sales because I did really, really well. I was one of the top money earners in the company. I was working part-time at the time because I was at U of M, but that's what I kind of started out. And that's when I realized that I was a major people person and that I love people and people love me, and whatever I had, they wanted.
I love it. And that is a great place to be operating from, okay? Because if you can sell one thing, you can sell anything. And I know that has definitely attributed to the success that you've had, not just in multi-level marketing, but also in the brands that you have built. And like I said, I did have the pleasure of attending your Millionaires conference here in Atlanta. And I loved that you were talking about wealth building. And I think that is one topic, generational wealth, investing. Those are topics that we just don't talk enough about. And when we are talking, we're not sharing enough of the right information. So I got really, really excited just to hear another Black woman talking about these topics. But the other thing that I thought was so amazing is that you weren't just talking about like real estate, right? You were talking about real estate, but you weren't just talking about real estate. You were talking about precious metals. You were talking about Forex, trading currency, so many things that we just seem to skip over in our community. Why do you think it's so important that we start sharing these resources with one another? And why is it so important for you to share them on your platform?
Girl, so I'm so passionate about it because I am so tired of African Americans and people in our community, and particularly still being at the bottom of the totem pole. Like when you pull up statistics economically, African Americans, even though we've made so many tremendous, strides financially, when you look at the median income of African Americans, when you compare it to our counterparts, it's still very small, because most of us think about wealth. We think about red bottoms. We think about Gucci, which, honey, I'm not mad at none of that because I do have some in my closet. So let me keep it real. But at the same time, I'm not like running after those things in terms of I understand they're fun. It's not an appreciating asset. Well, I think most African Americans really think they're red bottoms, that they think they've arrived because they got some red bottoms or some Gucci or a Benz, and that's not real wealth. So the only way to change a culture is to have conversations, to discuss it. And because those people are like, well, I don't really care about money. I just, girl, as long as I got some love and some peace, I'm okay. And I'm thinking, but you can have love, peace, and you can have some money. And we've got to talk about that because it impacts every area of our lives. It impacts where we send our children to school. It impacts whether or not if they go to the local Boys and Girls Club or to Europe for the summer. It impacts what institutions they go to in terms of university. It impacts whether or not you shop at Whole Foods or Piggly Wiggly. Like, it impacts like every single area of your life. And I don't think people really think about it. They just live and they get used to living a certain way, and they don't realize that if they had more, it would increase their options significantly. Also, you know, changing their children's lives. So I think that's why having this conversation is so vitally important.
And, you know, I always talk about, you know, that entrepreneurship isn't for everyone, but multiple streams of income is. And, you know, back in the day, we would hear people say, you know, rich people, wealthy people have 7 streams of income. But now it's like everybody needs 7 streams of income. Like, it's no longer a luxury. It's literally a necessity. And I think that learning these lessons and being able to pass them on to our children, that is like the ultimate goal. Because it's not just about, you know, building your own wealth, but it's about creating that generational wealth that you can pass on to your children and teach them how to manage it and build their own. And so I've personally been studying Forex, right? I've been learning how to trade currency, making some money, losing some money, learning some lessons. And I've really been trying,
Trading?
yes, I am. And I've been trying to explain to other people that this is really a game changer. So while I was at your conference and your daughter, I don't know exactly how old she is, so I'm not going to quote it, but she's young. She was on the stage explaining, you know, how Forex works and what trading currency really means. And that really blew me away because, like I said, ultimately, my goal is for my daughter to grow up knowing these things. And so to see that live in action, it's like literally that is, you know, the personification of what I see, you know, for myself and one of my goals. And so why do you think that Forex is such a game changer, and why is it so important for you to bring your kids in on these lessons that you're learning and that you are able to teach them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's real important because here's the reality. Your children are going to usually repeat the pattern that they've seen. So if they've seen you work a 9 to 5 and then come home and sit on the couch from 6 until it's time to watch the evening news and then go to bed, then a lot of times they'll repeat that employee behavior. So I like to bring them in on the risk that it takes to trade. I like them to know when I've taken an L. I like them to know when I profited. I like for them to be in on that process and definitely be a benefactor of our hard work. Like, for example, for the holiday, we went out, rented a 5-level mansion. And I made sure they know that wasn't daddy's money. That was mommy's money. Brought the cook out there, shopped, had a really great time, took 2 days to just family plan. And we purchased cryptocurrency. We researched different cryptocurrencies. And so, but we made it really fun. Girl, it was so funny. After the second day, our precious cook came in there and said, when are you guys gonna start your vacation? I said, honey, this is vacation right here. Get my babies, making sure they together for, you know, their life, because we're not gonna just give our children stuff. And certainly we've, you know, made sure that certain things are in place. But for the most part, like, you got to learn how to go out here and create. So I love to talk to them about investing because it's all about strategies. It's not just about, okay, mommy and daddy live in a mansion or mommy and daddy have 8 cars. It's about, how do we get that? What were the strategies that we use? I want them to know that all of our vehicles are pre-owned. My G-Wagon is an '09. My Range Rover is an '08. I'm very proud of that. I don't buy cars off of the car dealership floor because they're depreciating assets. But nobody knows my G-Wagon is an '09 because it's popping. You see what I'm saying? Nobody knows that window smoke, black on black, is still hot. So teaching them how, you know, those different things I think are so important, because we all like nice things. Trust and believe, I do too. But everything is negotiable. So I think that we have to teach them these things because we don't want them to just grow up in these environments and end up being ruined. Statistics say that 2nd and 3rd generation children do not go on and they're not able to carry on the legacy. But I think it's because the parents may not have stopped to take enough time to introduce them to the wealth advisor, to introduce them to the accountant, or to, you know, the tax strategist, or to the trustee, making sure that they understand the ins and outs of how we live, I think is so important.
So important. And it's such a blessing to be able to learn these lessons and be able to teach them to your kids in your good years. You know, like you are literally living your best years, able to share this wealth and teach your children how to create the wealth. You are living the dream. Okay. But Forex in particular, I just want you to, because you were sharing some stats at your conference, but can you just talk about Forex in general, just how it's changing the game?
Yeah, absolutely. So Forex it's nothing really more than bartering. That's what people did. You know, that's what our ancestors did. They bartered corn for shoes, or, you know, chairs for sheets. It's simply it's based on a bartering system. So what it is if you or I were to leave and go to Europe for the summer, we would have to trade in the dollar for the euro. And depending on if the value of the euro was greater or lesser in value, then the dollar would determine if we got more euros back or less euros back, right? So it's the ability to trade between any two countries and their two currencies. And so in this Forex space, some people have like their favorite currencies that they like to trade, because currencies are almost like people. They have personalities. And so I have some people who say, oh, I just like to trade Euro USD. I know pretty much what it's going to do. She moves slow, or she moves fast, or like gold. I love it when the president speaks, because every time he speaks, the value of gold is going to go through the roof, or the value of the dollar is going to go through the roof. So trading foreign currency, again, two countries and their two currencies, it's totally and completely different from trading like stocks and bonds, because that's based on a company and based on a company's performance, like their profit and loss. So that's based on stock prices, where with trading foreign currency, it has to do with two countries and their two currencies.
And that, my friend, is how you break it down. Okay, so obviously there's a whole lot more that you can learn about Forex that is, you know, for another time. But the thing is that there are a million ways to get it. And if you are sitting back waiting on that one paycheck, you know, you are going to get left behind. You got to make sure that your money is working for you and you are not just out here working for it. Okay, so the other thing that I love, though, Dr. Jewel, is that you are literally setting the stage and creating this platform, not just for your own daughter and your own children, but for our younger sisters too. One young lady that I had the pleasure of connecting with at your conference, Justice Miranda, we actually interviewed her here on the podcast. That young lady who just graduated from Clark and created this amazing app, like she is so popping. And I didn't know about her until I got to your conference. And so that is just one of those reasons, ladies, for everybody listening, why it's so important to be in the room. You never know who you can connect with. You never know who you can learn from. You never know who's going to be your next client, your next business partner, your next mentor. So you definitely want to surround yourself by like-minded, like-spirited people. So that was definitely an amazing, amazing event. But okay, so aside from the amazing work that you have done within like Forex, which is MLM, you have some experience. Like, you are not new to this, you are true to this. There's definitely money to be made within multi-level marketing. And it's not a bad idea for people who don't necessarily have their own business idea or even want to start their own business. But what would your best advice be for someone who might be interested but don't think they have, you know, necessarily the personality to do it? Because I know you talked about you are a natural salesman, you know, you're a people person. If you got it, people want it. What about the people who are just not naturally salesmen?
Well, you know, I would say this is where personal development comes into play. Somebody asked me before, they were like, girl, I'm just so shy. Like, I don't know. I said, well, you got to ask yourself, are you willing to allow your shyness to keep you broke? And of course, there's certain industries where there's certain people like Steve Jobs. I mean, everybody knows he wasn't a social person. He didn't have good social skills. He was a visionary. He wasn't even really a tech guy. He had the vision, and then his partner was the tech guy, and they kind of brought it together. So I'm going to say this, that, you know, if you are shy, but you're able to make it happen. Maybe you're an innovator, you're a futurist, you can create an app, or you can create some sort of innovative model that's going to change the world or bring success to you, then cool. But if you shy and you broke and you struggling, then you got to develop. You know what I'm saying? And so the only way to personally develop is to get around people that make you uncomfortable, get around people that stretch you, get around people that put a demand on your greatness, get around people that make you think about things that you would not normally think. So I think it's very important, no matter what personality type you are or who you are, understand that you're going to attract what you become, not just what you want. You're going to attract what you become. And so that's why real success, and you hear it all over again, it's all about what you think, but it's an ongoing process. It's not like you can get up one day and say, oh, I read a book on leadership development, or no, it's daily activity. You know, every day I invest into my mind. I'm reading things, I'm listening to things, I'm saying things, because I realize that the more success that I want to have, then I've got to continue to work on myself, not anybody else, because eventually you will become a magnet for who you are. So I'm consistently being inundated with wealth strategies. I'm being inundated with amazing partnerships and relationships, but that's just a result of me working on myself. And ultimately, you know, first I need to say it is definitely the grace of God. Let's be clear. But it's me partnering with God, doing my part, becoming my best.
So that was the perfect segue into my very next question, because one thing that I have learned is that the real power is in your people, you know, and not just knowing people, but like real, genuine relationships. And so what's your biggest piece of advice for relationship building, and not just networking, like not just going to an event and passing out your cards, but how do you build and nurture genuine relationships?
So, I mean, you know, that was so funny because it definitely, and I'm a loyalist. I would say that, you know, you can't be selfish. And at the same time, kind of understand where you are in your life. Like, I think there's some people in their life, and I think we all need to always make room for a new relationship, period, especially if it's a divine connection. You know, we sense a divine partnership there, a divine collaboration, but understand they're going to take nurturing. They're going to take spending time with that person, investing in that person. And you have to be willing to do that. And I think that's why it's important to have bosses. Like all my girlfriends, best friends, they're like all serious bosses, because we might go weeks without talking to each other. I can't be in relationship with somebody who's like, girl, you don't call me back and you don't love me no more. And I'm like, girl, I'm over here running empires, dynasties, skipping nations. I may not always be able to sit down and just kick it and talk to you. And so I think that at the same time, you know, when those relationships are valuable, invest in them. You know what I mean? Make sure that you take time, and that like there's certain people, for example, I've got a big conference coming up, and it's the same conference as Pastor Taffy. Well, I totally honor and value that relationship. So I'm only going to be able to go in for a day, but I'm not missing that conference. You know, I've got other, and she's definitely a mentor, a friend. But I have other relationships where it's like I just met this woman, this chick, bad female real estate developer. Okay. And she buys land, and she takes still shipping containers, and builds like 25 unit, 50 unit, like apartments, single family apartments. And you can either do it at market price, or you could do affordable housing price, right? This chick's so bad. I met her at this business conference. I said, I got some land I've been sitting on. I need you to come to Murfreesboro. So I'm flying my plane to Columbus, Ohio, Friday and Saturday. I said, hey, you can fly back with me, stay at the house till Monday. And she said, you know, check out these couple things about codes. And then after that, as long as there's a thumbs up, we can develop this land. So I just met her, and she's staying at my house. Her and her husband are staying at my house Saturday night and Sunday night, because I sense the divine connection. She's in her genius. And so therefore, I'm making time for that relationship. I'm investing. When they get here, I'll have a nice gift for him and, you know, her and her husband. You know, we'll make sure the staff takes care of them, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, it's about when you realize this is a divine connection, I am going to invest in this relationship. Okay. And because I believe that it could be equally beneficial, or maybe even just beneficial for you at the time, quite honestly, you know, in some instances. But I tell people, as long as you're not a user, like I would never have somebody, you know, come to my house and help me with something, but I don't feed them, or I don't, you know, let them know that I appreciate them, or let a birthday go by, you know, and let them know, hey, thank you, I'm thinking about you, here's a gift. I think those things are very important. Gifts are very important. Birthday cards, would love gifts. I never give an empty birthday card. And just letting people know you appreciate them.
So what would you say has been more beneficial for you in your career? Would you say partnership or mentorship?
Equal. I mean, they're equal. My God, equal. Definitely equal. I cannot say that one over the other. Definitely equal. Because partners, in many cases, they can be mentors. Like in this particular instance, her name is Michelle. Michelle would be a mentor and a partner for me in real estate development, because I've purchased homes before. I've had rental property before. Purchased and sold homes, but I've never ever developed a project from the ground up. So I'm going to be being mentored, and at the same time, she's going to benefit from it because she's going to receive a percentage from her time with helping on this co-development.
And you know, that's what I think. One thing that I notice with all of the amazing women that I get to interview and just connect with and know is that you're all the ones who are really making boss moves are always willing to invest in themselves. They always want to learn something new. They always want to be their best. They always want to make sure that they are at the cutting edge and that they're forming new partnerships. They never get complacent, you know, and I think that a lot of times from the outside looking in, people think, oh, well, if I work for this amount of years, or if I do this number of tasks, then I made it. And it's like, no, there's no such thing as arriving. You get there and then you got to keep going. You know, like you don't take your shoes off and get comfortable. You have to keep looking for new opportunities, looking for new relationships, and building and growing and evolving. So I love that you, you know, are always constantly a student and looking to learn. I don't think you can ever know too much or be in a position where you can't learn from somebody.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So then a lot of people got, and I know you know this, a lot of people got a whole lot to say about reality TV, right? But I think that you have been really successful in making it work for you and using it to monetize your other projects. What lessons, though, have you learned through the entertainment industry that you've been able to use in your entrepreneurial career?
I think that emotional intelligence, that you have to make sure that you stay the heck out of your feelings. When I say feelings, I mean negative feelings. I think good emotions are great. But a lot of people get so intertwined. They deal with depression, in some cases, suicide. It destroys their families, their marriage. And it can do that if you don't keep a tight hold on your situation. Like when we take, we're family meetings like triple time. Like, you all right, Brooke? Brooke, that's still your brother. Ben, now Cyrene, you know. So we definitely, I mean, it definitely took more emotional investing in ourselves emotionally, and making sure, because Ben and I felt like we're always pretty good. Even if we didn't like something, we bounce back. But you know, you have some children that are way more emotional than others, and their bounce back game may not be as strong as developed. So if you snap on them 30 minutes later, they're not going to be laughing. They still going to be in their feelings.
Right.
Or, you know, I want to quit, or I can't stand this family, or I can't stand TV, or I can't stand social media, or, you know, and it's like, wait a minute, this is a business. Get your head together. This is a business. That's what people can say whatever they want to say about Kris Jenner. She did an excellent job in making sure that she leveraged that business and still kept a great relationship, you know, I think overall, you know, with her girls. What happened with her husband, I don't think she can control that per se, but, you know, it just takes a lot of emotional development, and you need to be very strong and very clear with why I am doing this and who you are and what is the doggone end goal, because it can be a lot. It can be a lot of persecution on a social media standpoint. People either love you or they don't, so you have to be able to hear those things and still not allow them to disrupt your identity. So, it can be a lot, but it can be done.
I love it. And having a mother that can get you together and get your hair right, get you back in the game. I know that that is definitely helpful. Okay, so I cannot let you get out of here though without telling me about your Millionaires Club. I know that my ladies are going to be interested in all that you have going on. So please let me know, who is the Millionaires Club for and what do you do?
It's really, girl, the club, that is so my heart. That's so my baby. I love those ladies in there. It really is for the everyday girl. It's for the housewife. It's for the housekeeper. It's for the CEO. It's for the bank clerk. It's for the VP. It's really for every woman, whether she is, broke and lives off of her husband, or whether or not she may be already making a 7-8 figure income, but wants to be around like minds and celebrate it in this space. And so we talk about everything where investing is concerned. We talk about short-term investing, long-term investing, everything where money is concerned, and new rules of money, emotional intelligence, how to build a power team, how to build a successful infrastructure, how to expand, how to negotiate, how not to ask other people for permission to succeed, even our amazing husbands. I love my honey with all my heart, but I will never ask his permission if I can learn something new, like a Forex or a cryptocurrency, or how to speak Chinese, or how to develop. I mean, we definitely consult one another, and I respect him. He's a very wise man, very successful, and hugely funny. I love him. And I respect his opinion a lot, as he respects mine, but we respect each other's individual gifts and talents and gut. Each of us have a different risk tolerance. Each of us have different desires when it comes to investing, and it's worked really well for us. I mean, I think it's the difference between a power couple and a normal couple. And a lot of women are really confused in that space. They are I cannot tell you how many women I talk to. I'm talking about basic stuff. Like, I want to learn how to speak Spanish, right? And they're like, oh, I got to go check with my husband. And I'm thinking, girl, you doing too much. It is 2017. Like, you should be grown enough to figure out your responsibilities as a mom and a wife. If you want to learn how to speak Spanish, do you really have to ask him that? So I think that I think we have a lot of issues when it comes to success. And I think there's some women who have become very masculine and dominant and mean. And I'm like, girl, just stay a girl. You ain't got to do all of that. So I think the club, we really address all the issues that come with women and success, whether it's from one end to the other.
I love it, and it's definitely relatable, and it's good to have that community, of people that you can bounce ideas off of, get feedback from, learn from their mistakes, and they can, share their wisdom from their journey with you. So please let my ladies know where they can find you online, how they can connect with you on social media, and where they can get more information on your Millionaires Club.
Absolutely. So the Millionaires Club is actually $29 a month. We have 2 live webinars that we do every single month, where I bring on experts and other financial investors and partners that I'm in business with. And then everything is Jewel Tankard, jeweltankard.com, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, and the Gram.
This has been another game-changing episode of Confessions of a Workaholic, meant to empower and encourage you to get that ass to work. You already have everything you need to get everything you want if you are willing to do what it takes. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week.